Okay, hello. This is take 2 of Balance Your Productivity. The session on Wednesday didn't appear to either go out live, so just let me check that we are on Facebook. It has gone out. Okay, yes, looks like it's there. So if anyone is watching this live, say hello and or come and join me on the call, ask any questions, and let's see how this goes. Session today, or the one I was going to run on Wednesday, is about how you can find time to study, whether it's part of college course that you're doing, particularly if you're in business, you probably need to do a lot of CPD work, continuing professional development, improving your qualifications, and it can be really hard to find time to study when you're working full time. So what I want to look at today is how you can commit the time and find the time to study, planning your study time into your day, and how you can also maintain a balance, and how you stay focused and accountable while you're studying so that you can keep that motivation going. It's something that I found I got into when I was working full time and decided to take on an Open University degree as a way of continuing my learning and not so much professional development, but personal development. And it was quite hard finding the time to fit that into an already busy day, particularly when I was working quite long hours. But it is doable. And a lot of what I'd learnt in that process is what I would like to share with you. So finding and committing the time can be really difficult when you're busy. So when you're already trying to juggle work and family, have a social life, how do you find time to fit that study in? Well, we all have a choice about the way we use our time and how we use it and where we use it. So fitting studying in is part of that choice that you make. Think about what it is that you're doing, why you're committing to doing this particular course, this level of studies, personal development, and what it is that you're going to get from it, because that will help you to stay more motivated as you go through it, and also understand the choices that you're making and that this is something important and it's something that you want to do. So whether it's for yourself or as part of your work. Be realistic about what you're doing. I mean, so many people sign up for courses on a weekly basis, and there's so much that's out there now, online and offline, and so many different things we could be doing with our time. So be realistic about how much you can actually do, how many courses you can potentially take on, and what your time commitment is going to be. Is it something that you're going to complete in a few weeks or a few months, or is it something that you're committing to for a much longer period of time? For instance, doing a degree or an MBA, or even a lot of the ongoing CPD is something that you will be doing year after year. How much time do you actually need to study? A lot of courses will give you an indication of your time commitment, so that makes it easier to look at how much time have I got, how much time do I need to find, and is that really realistic given how busy I am at the moment. So if you have an indication of the hours that you're going to spend on this course, it could be 10, 15, 20 a week, or spread over the course of a month. And also be aware of your own style of working and some of the skills that you might need to pick up that are actually going to help you with your studying. On the OU course I decided to do, they estimated that each module, and you can pick 1 or 2 modules, they were now, it's probably changed, it was a while ago, they estimated between 15 to 20 hours a week, which great if you're not working, if you're working part-time, but how do you fit that in? And certainly wasn't something that I had that amount of time for, but I knew I could find enough time to get it done, and it was something I was really interested in doing, so there was that motivation. Planning and prioritizing is going to be really key as part of your studying. So if you are already busy, then something is going to have to give. You're going to have to make choices with the time that you've got and do things differently. So think about where you're spending your time at the moment, how much time you spend on within your leisure time and work time, and how you can find that extra time to study. It might be that you can get up an hour early and use the time at the beginning of the day to do your studying, get a kickstart onto your day, and then you don't have to worry about it later in the day. Alternatively, it might be something that you can do in the evening when you get home from work. I would definitely recommend having a break between work time, getting home, and then getting into your study, so that you give yourself that little boundary between the two. Perhaps you spend quite a lot of time relaxing, watching TV of an evening, so you could use that time to study. It's something that you'll get more benefit from, rather than just collapsing on the sofa at the end of the day. Use your commuting time if you commute, whether it's on, more beneficial is if it's on a train, because you can potentially, hopefully, get a seat. Bus maybe, or if you can listen to some of the coursework via podcasts or audios while you're in the car, as long as it's safe to do so. Listening to podcasts on studying while you're exercising, rather than listen to music, could you listen to one of the many podcasts that are available? So you're actually improving your personal development, your learning, your studying while you're exercising. Do you have time during your lunch break? Hopefully, if you do take a lunch break, maybe if it's an hour, you could spend 30 minutes studying rather than the whole time focusing on eating or maybe even getting some exercise. And after work is when I found was the best time to study, and that I could fairly easily commit at least 2 hours of an evening to going through all my coursework. And a lot of the courses will not be 12 months of the year. They might be spread across the year in chunks, so you will have those breaks. But think about how you're going to plan your time, and plan that study time in the same way that you would plan your working week or your social life. Just block out those time slots for studying. Also, set some ground rules around studying. You need to maintain that balance. It doesn't have to be that you're giving up all your time to studying. It may be that it's something that you can do, work a few hours over the weekend, but make sure that's only 3 weekends out of 4 or 5 in a month, so that it's not every weekend that you're studying. Study 2-3 nights in the week, so again, you still have time to have a social life, spend time with family and friends. Or a couple of hours in the day, either in one chunk, as I said, beginning, end of the day can be quite useful times, or spread across the day, hour in the morning, hour in the evening, half an hour at lunchtime. You can find those areas of time that you can fit study into if it's something that you're really committed to. Make sure that you maintain the balance with regular breaks, even while you're studying. Being aware of some of the study techniques of working in short bursts of time, studying a particular module, understanding what it is that you want to achieve over that period of study time, how much you're going to do, how many pages you're going to read, how much research you're going to do, the amount of writing, and then have a break. The longer you go on, particularly if you're concentrating on something where there's a lot of information going in, and you just keep at it, you're going to get more and more tired. So make sure you take breaks while you're studying. And taking breaks is something that I refer to quite a lot, even as a way of managing and improving your productivity. You can actually work more efficiently and be more productive if you take more breaks. Also, manage and plan in your health and well-being while you're studying. That's not something that necessarily needs to go by the wayside just because you're studying. Make sure that you still find time to eat healthily, so you're not staying up all night drinking coffee just because you need that studying time. That you get out and you exercise, that you're working your mind and your body because again, you'll work more productively if you have a much better balance. When it comes to studying, focus in short bursts, said with regular breaks, and set time limits in the same way that you do when you plan and you prioritize. Work to certain time limits so that you don't find that that study time is creeping into the time when you might want to be doing other things. So that's where it really helps to plan. And always remember why you're doing this and what your motivation is, and keep that in mind as you work through that. At the end of this, you're going to have an additional qualification, additional skill, you'll have learned something, you'll have been able to progress your career in one way or another. There are a number of study skills that are really useful for improving the efficiency of studying when you are working. Mind mapping is a great technique. I used that a lot when I was studying. It really helps to condense down a lot of information onto one page, 2-3 pages for a whole block of coursework. And it also makes it a lot easier when you come to, if you're doing exams and you need to revise or absorb that information, it's also something that you can take with you. Mind maps now, I was handwriting a lot of mine, which writing them down and that exercise of putting pen on paper also helps the information to go in, because you're connecting lots of different sensory aspects of that information. So it really helps. I don't know if you've sort of found that if you're doodling, or if you do something like knitting, or you're doing something else while something else is going on, like particularly if you're watching TV, if you rerun that activity or you come back to it, you can remember exactly what it is that you were doing, or what was happening, or what was going on, or what was being said at that time. So you're engaging more senses when you're using something like the mind mapping technique. Also think about using Keycards as a way of taking notes. So you don't have to be writing pages and pages of notes, just the key points will be enough to help you remember, to absorb the information, and go over them at regular intervals so that you keep absorbing that information. The brain puts things into longer term memory the more you repeat it. So that's another technique when you're studying. And there's a blog post I've done around study techniques, which I'll pop into the comments later on. Something else which again is very useful generally in life is to learn to, if not speed read, at least read faster. We are taught to read in a very linear way, reading every single word, but there are a lot of techniques out there that will help improve your reading speed, which you can apply not only to studying, if you've got to read a large amount of material, but also in going through emails, reading reports, doing research, just reading articles generally. So that's something that can be useful to all different aspects. And think about your different learning style. How do you learn best? Are you more of an audio person? Are you better visually or kinesthetically, around touch and sound and different senses? Think about ways that you learn best and how you can apply those to your study time. And it also helps with the recall as well. Create a study calendar, something that either runs alongside your work calendar or you can overlay it, so you can see exactly what needs to be done when. Break down your coursework, when your modules start, when they finish, any dates that you have in for revision, for exams that are coming up, when coursework needs to be done, any assignments that are part of the course. Plot those out onto your scheduler or your calendar so you know exactly where you are, what needs to be done. So when you sit down and study, you know what to focus on to make sure that you reach those and you don't end up with that last minute rush, working really late, overnight, cramming the day before an exam or an assignment or whatever it is that's part of that course if you're being assessed as you go through it. Let friends and family know, so to give you some accountability around you're studying, get them engaged in the process as well, to understand that when you're studying, this is something that's important. It's something that you're going to commit to for a period of time, and that you need their support as well, so that they are less likely to interrupt and disturb you, whether it's at home or even at work. And in some situations, work will allow you study time as part of your work time. So you might be able to find those blocks of time that you need while you're at work. Find a study buddy. Again, that's probably something that is available with a lot of these courses. There are online forums, there are groups. You can create a group for a course if one doesn't exist. Facebook is a good place to have that, or even just sort of meeting up occasionally and having conversations if you're in a similar location. If it's distance learning, you can use some of the online conferencing, either one-to-one or in small groups, that just helps you to engage, keeps you motivated and keeps you accountable. And also you can share thoughts and ideas either on the subject matter or some of the challenges that you might be having. Consider working with a mentor or as part of a mastermind group. Again, that can give you the motivation to take things forward, to have someone that is there to guide you through the whole process, or to answer questions if you get stuck on things. And finally, as part of the accountability, create some rewards for yourself, so that at the end of this course, or having completed a certification, qualification, completed whatever it is that you're working towards, that you have a reward, and make that appropriate to the amount of effort that you're putting in. It might be a really good holiday at the end of it. It might be a weekend away. It might be an evening out or a really nice meal. And you can also break that up into the different modules or different courses that you're doing, so that keeps you moving forward and gives you that incentive and added motivation to keep going, particularly if you work well with the carrot approach rather than the stick. So if you've got any questions, pop them into the comments, drop me an email, or you can get in touch via my website if you want to either have a look at a template for a study calendar, or you want to talk through your own challenges around finding time to study. So there are a few blog posts I mentioned on some of the skills that you can improve for that, how to find time to study and the importance of finding the time and taking those breaks. And also to have a look at the time quiz that's on the site if you'd like to find out perhaps where you can improve your own productivity. So don't forget to follow these either on Smile Time or on Facebook if you want to get notified when I next go live. It is usually on at 4:30 on a Wednesday, and all being well, hopefully this one will be up there this time. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.